Las Vegas frustration as manhole covers once again cause chaos in Sin City ahead of this weekend's Las Vegas Grand Prix. From Racing News 365, my name is Nick Golding, and I'm delighted to be joined, as always, by lead editor Ian Parkinson. Ian, we have, I say, a lot to talk about, more in fact of significant talking points rather than the quantity, but forget that for a moment. What on earth is that behind you? Can you please explain? Because that's just Las Vegas to a T, it's got to be said.
It's got to be one of the best backgrounds I think I've come up with, Nick, across all of our F1 updates in the time that we've been doing these videos. Yes, it doesn't get more weird, wonderful and tacky than right here in the Formula One paddock in Las Vegas, where we have the Neon Chapel. Now, couples are coming here to renew their wedding vows, and on Friday at 5:30 local time, there will be a step in an alley right here. There will be an Elvis impersonator conducting the ceremony, as you can choose, with all in neon pink. And just over here, over my shoulder to this side, there is a full-size working Lego Cadillac, all in Barbie pink. This is Las Vegas. It doesn't get too much tackier than this. And this is what we've got to contend with in the Formula One paddock right now. Penny for the thought of all those wonderful drivers from yesteryear and what on earth they would think of this in the Formula One paddock. But hey, one in Las Vegas.
The only thing we need now is the driver's parade lap on Saturday night to be done in 10 of those Cadillacs. That would be quite funny to see.
Imagine, I know.
It was good enough back in Miami. Right, okay, let's get on then to a frustrating Thursday evening. I think it's got to be said. It's almost deja vu, a little bit, not quite to the same severity of what happened in 2023. To put it into a bit of perspective, FP1, completely unrepresentative, a dirty circuit, slippery circuit, not a lot really to say about that. FP2 was all going well, but we had a little bit of rain just before the session, again made things slippery, but all things going well until around 20 minutes before the end of FP2, right as the drivers were kind of getting to near finishing their long runs to switch over to a soft tyre quali sim. We saw a red flag waved as a marshal reported a loose manhole cover. Of course, safety first. The FIA quickly went out to check it, deemed it was okay. 15 minutes later, the session resumed. Charles Leclerc immediately came to a halt beyond a barrier at turn 5, reporting a gearbox problem. And then a few seconds later, a second red flag. And initially, I think everybody thought, oh, is it for Leclerc? But quite clearly, his Ferrari was in a safe place, not requiring a red flag. Long behold, following the session, obviously FP2 was then brought to an end. We didn't see it resume due to the red flags. It was confirmed again that race personnel, and effective race control personnel, had remained at turn 17 where the manhole cover was deemed to have come loose, remained there to see what was really happening. And they also deemed and saw that as cars passed over it, it was coming loose. It means that we've seen no quali simulations on what was the most representative practice session of the Grand Prix, given the time it takes place compared to qualifying and the race. We saw this again to a much severe extent in 2023, but this isn't a good look, is it, Ian, for Las Vegas and for F1, for manhole covers again being the big story.
Yeah, 2023 was obviously a big story, and that was obviously a far more severe incident.
Yes.
That was very early. We'd only just got going that particular session. I remember it quite clearly being here for that first Las Vegas Grand Prix. And yeah, Carlos Sainz running over the manhole cover that pretty much was sucked up by the ground effect nature of these cars, completely destroying the underneath of these cars, of his Ferrari at that particular stage. Fred was furious with what happened. I remember the press conference that Fred held that day. Used a swear word or two, if I remember rightly. And so not quite as severe today in FP2, but nevertheless, still annoying, frustrating enough that none of the teams really got going, as you say. There were a handful of soft tyre laps, but most of the times that were set in FP2 on the medium tyres. Considerable amount of time lost. When that first red flag flew, it was 38 minutes into the session. Initially, there was a 16-minute delay, only 6 minutes left on the clock, but that was pretty much wiped out. There were no other lap times set. So pretty much that session lost 22 minutes. And as you say, just at the time when those more representative soft tyre quali-esque runs were starting to be conducted, and we were about to get a reasonable idea as to the pecking order. But right now, going into qualifying Friday, as it is here in Las Vegas, we're really unsure as to who has got the leading pace in their car. The McLarens didn't look clever in FP1. Lando Norris, yes, okay, he had the leading time in FP2, but really we can't read too much into that. He had numerous offs when he was trying to explore the limits. We know that McLaren is not good in these really cool, low grip conditions. Got a slight adjustments to the front and rear wings on that McLaren for this weekend that the team is hoping will just aid that performance a little bit better. Will it lend itself to a decent qualifying pace and then a better race pace on Saturday rather? That's to be seen, of course. But as I say, right now, the overall picture completely shrouded in doubt because of what has happened with that particular manhole cover going into T17. There are investigations going on. It's naturally going to be welded shut and be firmly in place for FP3 and, of course, qualifying to take place on Friday. Just as I'm talking, Nick, the rain is starting to come down right now. I'm okay. I'll persevere through the next few minutes. This is what I have to put up with, folks, to get through these videos for you.
Yeah, rain in Las Vegas. Who would have seen that coming? And just to kind of highlight how unrepresentative today is being, Lando Norris was quickest in FP2, but across the two sessions had more skirmishes and off-track moments than probably anybody else. But, I mean, to let our viewers know who may have missed the sessions, FP1, the top five, were Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. In FP2, the top 10 was Norris, Kimi Antonelli, Charles Leclerc, Nico Hulkenberg, Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, George Russell, Alex Albon, Verstappen and Hamilton. So, I mean, nothing learnt really, and this is now the huge unknown going into Saturday, because as pointed out by McLaren team boss Andrea Stella and the Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, they're missing, and it's not just Red Bull and McLaren, it will be the entire grid, that they're all missing this really crucial long run data they normally get on a Friday. And what's so costly is they've also got now no one lap pace or no one lap data from what would have been the most representative session of the weekend. Forget about qualifying, there is so much unknown simply going into third practice.
Yeah, there's huge unknowns. You just touched on a great deal there. Just to caveat that top 10 that you read out, obviously there was a mix of some drivers on soft, some drivers on mediums. As I say, Lando was on the soft, so at least he managed to get in a kind of representative soft tyre outing that the team can read into. Oscar Piastri, unfortunately for him, he didn't manage to get in that soft tyre, and he finished on 14th on the timesheet. But as I say, completely unrepresented because it was a medium tyre outing. So yes, a lot of unknowns. There's going to be a lot of work now going to have to be crammed into that FP3 session. And to then, obviously then, hopefully extract enough data that will give the teams enough information to initially go into qualifying and then at least something to work with to go into the Grand Prix on Saturday night.
Right, we do have one more talking point to discuss, and it's off the circuit, but it's actually pretty significant because news fell in the morning in Las Vegas, in the evening in the UK and Europe, and that Mercedes has a new co-owner. Toto Wolff, who had been a one-third owner of the team, has relinquished, 15% of his stake to George Kurtz, CEO and founder of CrowdStrike, which is, of course, one of Mercedes' primary global partners. At a time, Ian, when the likes of Mercedes are worth billions in Formula One. This is quite a significant move by Toto.
It's majorly significant. Now, the big question mark is this him slowly starting to dilute his way out of F1, or is it just him looking to cash in while there is a considerable amount of money floating around in the sport? So that's a question that's obviously going to be posed for him post-Grand Prix on Saturday when he conducts his post-race media session, as we know. Until then, we're not quite sure. Yeah, as you say, George has come in, CrowdStrike entrepreneur, CEO, massive understanding of AI cyberspace. He's going to lend that considerable experience to Mercedes as a whole. But what it does mean now is that for a long period of time, we've had a three-way split of ownership of Mercedes between Toto Wolff, between obviously Mercedes AG, the car company, and of course Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is the owner of the Ineos group. So what's happened is George has come in, and it's a little bit convoluted because he's acquired a 15% share of the holding company that has Toto's 1/3 percentage of the Mercedes Formula One team. And what that has ended up doing is basically he's got roughly around 5% of the Mercedes Formula One team. It's still significant. As I say, it's diluted Toto's ownership to a certain extent. Nevertheless, it has been mentioned by Mercedes that across all 4 owners now, there will be, they are all members of the management board. They will all take decisions fairly and equally, regardless of their relevant shareholdings. But yes, what it does mean is that Mercedes is now valued at around $6 billion. This is quite a significant move. Now, Forbes, the money experts, the great, they look into these kind of things. And they've estimated that compared to their valuations of 2 years ago, the valuation of Mercedes now is 58% more than it was in 2023. This is how much F1 has escalated in terms of the valuations of these teams. Now, Mercedes, funnily enough, Forbes estimates is still not the most valuable team in F1. They say that belongs to Ferrari at 6.5 billion. But the average price of the 10 F1 teams is around now 3.7 billion. This is quite something compared to that. Just look at this, folks.
I'm sorry, I can't contain it.
I did say it was a fully working model of
perfect timing.
Lego Cadillac. So perfect timing, just as I'm concluding the support. But yeah, if you can imagine, before Liberty Media came along in 2017, when they acquired Formula One from Bernie Ecclestone, the teams were valued nowhere near $1 billion, nothing near the sums we are seeing now. This is how much the sport has escalated over these past few years, and in particular, as Forbes has highlighted over these past few years. Sorry, folks, I'm just having to smile because there's Pete Cadillac's on the move in the background, in the foreground in front of me.
Ian, amazing stuff as always. I'll let you go and enjoy the Cadillac Lego car, but also get out of the ranks. You can see it falling. How good is it? Go on.
One last glimpse, folks, of it's being driven here.
That's incredible.
It is amazing, isn't it? Quite extraordinary. As I say,
staggering.
Only in Las Vegas. And on that note, we will conclude. Thanks as always for watching and listening. Take care until the next time. One last glimpse. Until the next time.